Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to Weather or Not. I'm your host Rebecca Newell, a fourth-year meteorology student, and I'm here with Jonathan Domow, a third-year meteorology student. And it's been a nice past couple of days. I've been enjoying the sunshine. What can you tell me about the weekend?
Well, if you've enjoyed the sunshine, unfortunately, we're going to see that take a break this weekend and even have some rain in the forecast.
We'll hear more about that in just a sec, but for now, nature in the news.
Across the country, students are returning to school for the start of the 2025-2026 school year. Along with returning pupils, schools are now having to face another challenge: heat. The United States is coming off of one of the hottest summers on record, and for some places, the high heat is spilling into class time. Findings from a government survey in 2020 found that an estimated 36,000 school buildings across the country are in need of upgrades to their air conditioning systems. With the number of days per year having a high temperature over 87 degrees increasing, so is the risk for students. The time with the highest potential for heat-related illnesses is any time spent outside. While 87 degrees might sound like a nice day, spaces without air conditioning have increased exposure to the heat, and it can begin to really add up. It's important to make sure you're limiting your time outside and in the sun, especially when it's hot out.
Just across the pond, the UK is on track to have its second record-breaking season of the year. After experiencing the sunniest and hottest spring ever recorded, this summer is now almost certainly going to claim the title of the hottest summer on record, at least according to the UK's Meteorology Office. So far, 2025's mean temperature is sitting at 61 degrees Fahrenheit, which just beats out the previous record of 60 degrees set in 2018. In fact, all 5 of the UK's hottest summers have happened since the year 2000. Both June, July, and August brought above average, consistent temperatures because of 4 separate heat waves. On top of the heat, rainfall has been well below normal. The UK has only had about 84% of its expected summer rainfall. The UK Met Office attributes this summer's persistent heat to above average surrounding water body surface temperatures, climate change, and abundant high pressure.
In Massachusetts, an effort to turn cranberry bogs into wetlands is coming to fruition. As part of a $1.1 million restoration project, 32 acres of cranberry bogs will be turned into the South Meadow Bogs Restoration Site. The project aims to put nature over development. Instead of using the land for projects like housing development, conservationists aim to preserve the land and turn it into a vibrant wetland. Reworking the bogs into wetlands also boosts the local ecosystem with the introduction of native flora and fauna. This choice is being made by cranberry farmers who want to conserve the land rather than use it for other means, such as solar farms. With a little bit of work, the state with the second largest cranberry production in the country can yield positive results for the environment.
Over in the tropics, a developing system could soon become the next named storm. A low-pressure system currently situated just off the west coast of Africa is producing a cluster of disorganized thunderstorms. Forecasters at the National Hurricane Center have high confidence this system will develop into a tropical depression in the next 7 days. From there, this storm has the potential to strengthen into Tropical Storm Gabrielle as it moves westward across the Atlantic. It might not look like too much right now, but every big storm begins somewhere. We're right in the middle of hurricane season, with September 10th being the climatological peak, and conditions are favorable for development. It is too early to predict the future path and full potential of this disturbance, but it never hurts to say whether or where.
As I mentioned before, there's some rain in the forecast. Let's time out when exactly we're going to see those rain and when it's going to impact you most. We're going to start here on Friday, and as you can see, there is a cold front, and it's actually one of many that we'll see throughout this forecast. It's being driven primarily by that low pressure centered up in southern Canada, and also pay attention to that high pressure out in the Midwest that's driving the cooler, drier weather for the next day. But let's jump right into where the rain is going to be. It's pretty big area where it's going to be raining. It's going to be raining all the way up from northern New York, all the way down into the southeastern United States. So a very large area of rain. And it's also going to be much cooler, and we'll take a look at how cool in just a little bit. But if you have any plans on Friday, expect some scattered showers. Nothing too significant. We're not looking at accumulation of any more than 1/10 of an inch across the affected area here, but definitely something you're going to want to keep your umbrella with you for. And here is a look on Saturday. We're going to see not one but two fronts here. One just off to our east, that was the one that brought in the rain on Friday, and another front here driven by yet another low pressure up in Canada. This time it's going to be a little bit more widespread, significant rain. We're going to be looking at rain totals of into the half-inch amounts for parts of Pennsylvania, and even higher as we head north up to Buffalo. We could see even almost an inch of rain in parts of Canada and northern New York. That cold front is going to be driving the rain in, unfortunately, in time for the Penn State game, where the Penn State Nittany Lions are going to take on the Florida International University Panthers. That's quite a long flight up from Miami, but hopefully it's a good game and everybody has a great time. Let's transition now into Sunday. The map looks much cleaner here. We have a nice, big, beautiful high pressure, and that's going to bring in some chilly but dry and mostly sunny weather here for much of the Commonwealth. The bulk of those clouds are going to stay out to our west and to our northeast here up in New England. And just in time for a slew of NFL games, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Browns up in Cleveland. It's going to be gorgeous for that. The Commanders will be playing the Giants with a lot of sunshine, and the Buffalo Bills take on the Ravens. They are going to have an incredible atmosphere for the game. Unfortunately, we can't make that same weather happen for the Penn State game. And a look for your Friday forecast. Up near the 80s, 78 degrees with some scattered showers, but a few peaks of sun throughout the day. But you're still going to want to bring out the raincoat and the umbrella with you when you leave for class or for work. And Friday night, we're going to have some clearing, not quite clear for the night, but 62, much lower, and some nice relief from the warmer temperatures that we're going to be experiencing on Friday. We're going to jump ahead into Saturday, and it's going to be rainy and 68, so not quite as warm, but the rain is definitely going to cool us down. Feel a little bit more comfortable. Unfortunately, if you're not a fan of the rain and you're going to the game, you're going to need the umbrella, the rain poncho, or the umbrella. And Saturday night, though, after the game, we're going to be mostly clear, 52 degrees, so much, much colder, possibly the coldest that we've been all week this week. And then Sunday, we're going to warm back up just to the mid-60s, 66, mostly sunny. Most of that rain has moved off to our east, and we don't have to worry about it until way into next week. Now, Filippo Formica with electric vehicles.
In the U.S., driving isn't just a way to get around. It's a part of our culture. The first motor vehicle to be mass-produced was the Ford Model T in Detroit, Michigan. Ever since, America has been in love with cars. Our cities are built around them, and we're one of the top 10 countries in vehicles owned per 1,000 people. Driving is also a symbol of freedom and independence, being able to drive anywhere you want, when you want. But that freedom comes with an environmental cost. Switching from gas to electric vehicles is one way to reduce our impact while keeping that sense of independence.
According to Forbes, over 91% of U.S. households own at least one vehicle, and more than 1 in 5 households own 3 or more. Our love for cars reflects our values, but it also reflects our carbon footprint. Transportation is responsible for about 22% of U.S. carbon emissions, according to the EPA, with gas-powered vehicles being a major contributor. But momentum is shifting. Electric vehicles made up nearly 17% of new car sales in 2023, with California leading the way in EV ownership. Why are more Americans going electric? Efficiency is a big part of it. Climate Central reports that internal combustion engines waste up to 88% of their energy as heat, while EVs use nearly all the electricity they're given to move the vehicle. That means fewer emissions and more savings. Let's break it down. In 2020, a Honda Civic cost around $22,000. but over 200,000 miles, the total cost of ownership, including gas and maintenance, was nearly $45,000. A fully electric Chevy Bolt had a higher sticker price at $36,500, but thanks to lower fuel and maintenance costs, its 200,000-mile ownership total came in under $39,000. That's over $6,000 in savings, without even factoring in potential tax credits of up to $7,500. Consumers willing to spend a bit more money up front could recoup that cost within just a few years of ownership with the savings of going electric. And the savings don't stop there. While gas prices average over $30 for 200 miles of driving, powering an EV for the same distance often costs less than $20 when charging at home.
Electric vehicles are becoming more affordable, more efficient, and more accessible, and they're one of the easiest ways to drive towards a greener, cleaner future. For Whether or Not, I'm Filippo for Formica.
Unfortunately, some rain in the forecast this weekend, especially in time for the Penn State football game. But a look at the extended forecast and when we might be able to see rain again. But first, a recap of the weekend. As I mentioned on Friday, we're looking at a scattered showered potential with a few peaks of sunshine. The temperature is going to be much warmer, so it'll be pretty hard to balance wearing the rain jacket all day. You're still going to want to bring it with you, or an umbrella if you have one. But those high temperatures in the high 70s, close to 80s in some parts of Pennsylvania, that's really going to be a real killer for the nice and warm rain jacket that you might have. On Saturdays, when we're going to see the more widespread rain in time for the Penn State football game where they take on the Miami-based Florida International University Panthers. Unfortunately, not quite nice Miami weather here. 68 degrees and rainy with that low 52, the lowest temperature of the weekend, I might add. Except for the 48 that's on Sunday. You can't forget about that. But first, on Saturday, if you're going to the game, you're definitely going to want to bring an umbrella or a rain jacket or even a poncho if you're in the game, as it will be raining, unfortunately, during game time. And keep in mind, those precipitation accumulation totals are going to be upwards of ½ inch here in State College. So make sure you plan accordingly if you plan to drive home after the game. You don't want to hydroplane on the road or drive through any flooded roadways. But come time for Sunday, we're going to have that dominating high pressure setting up shop to our west, and that's going to flush all that bad weather out of here, and it's going to bring in a lot more sun. A few clouds here in central Pennsylvania, but the more eastern you are, the better the outlook is, and especially the more southern you go. But no matter what, it's going to be nice and dry. Still a little bit chilly, 66 degrees. So you're going to want to maybe leave the sweatshirt at home unless you get a little bit colder. If you're staying from Florida International and you're used to Miami weather, you're going to definitely want a sweatshirt, but make sure you plan accordingly and are weather aware. And now we'll look at the extended forecast. You'll notice that the temperature trends here are trending upwards like an upward staircase here. Average for this time of year, just 74 degrees. We're going to be well below average come Monday, but as you can see, no rain on the icon, just a few clouds, and the clouds will begin to build up even more come Tuesday, where we approach closer to average. Still a comfortable field. The dew points are going to be insignificant rather, so you're not going to have to worry about any sort of feels like. Still the same amount of clouds on Wednesday, but now we're approaching average, about 73 degrees on Wednesday. Come Thursday, we'll be at average, but unfortunately, we're going to be able to see some more rain. But by Friday, we're cloudy, dry, and above average.
So yes, if you guessed cold air, you'd be correct. It's kind of amazing how no matter what front it is, even warm fronts are moved by cold air.
Yes, that's right. You can think of cold air as kind of like a bully. Wherever cold air wants to go, it's going to go. And unfortunately for the warm air, it has to find a place where cold air isn't, and it has to retreat away. And that's what drives all of our fronts.
So I guess you could say cold air is more about the journey than the destination. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today for Whether or Not. Please tune in next week for our next installment.